Welcome back to Adobe Live. We are here with Caterina Bianchini.
Hello.
And I am your host, Christine Arth. Yesterday we had Erik Spiekermann on with us, which was quite a delight. He had walked through the Bauhaus Dessau fonts and Caterina was creating posters for those. We have a little preview of a video that we should show you that walks a little bit through what was behind the scenes.
Only 14 years after its birth, the iconic Bauhaus School of Design was shut down by the Nazi regime. Many treasures and unfinished masterpieces were left behind, lost to the world. Founded on the central idea of training a new generation of artists to create a better world, Bauhaus laid the foundation for modern design as we know it and changed creativity forever. But in 1930s Germany, the progressive ideas of the Bauhaus were considered threatening and the school's closure became inevitable. But sometimes, what's been lost to history can be brought back. The influence of Bauhaus lives on, and now you can design with a piece of living history.
Okay, you saw it here first. Get the fonts now. Pretty exciting. So if you're watching and following along right now, we have a couple challenges today. One, just by being in the chat and talking actively, we're going to give away an Adobe Pillow later on. And then also we have a challenge to create a logo from the fonts that you can download on the challenge tab. So if you go to the challenge tab, download the fonts, and then in about an hour and a half, we're going to review all of the logo submissions, and Caterina will pick a winner, and that person will get a subscription to Creative Cloud for a year. Pretty good win. So yeah, download them now and get started. It's gonna be fun. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the fonts that we went through yesterday, and maybe we can go over some of the things that you had started to create with, what font was it?
So yesterday I was using the Yoschmidt, I think.
Yoschmidt.
Yoschmidt,
Yes.
I think is how we're saying it. And that was like a very sort of stencil-based font. There was some sort of decorative elements. There was some interesting glyphs when you started to explore the font. So some elements, instead of them being quite geometric, they started to become circular and things like this. So we were kind of...
Some even looked Japanese when you were laying them out. It was really cool.
It was really
pattern-like. It was very, very fun.
Yeah. And I think what was really interesting about yesterday was this whole idea of how can we use a font and kind of obscure a font to create patterns or to make it feel a little bit more like an object.
Yeah.
So we explored that a lot yesterday.
I think that's great. And then today, what are we going to be looking at?
So today we're gonna take another one of the great sort of like Bauhaus influencers, and we're going to look at Paul Klee today.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. So he was like a sort of quite an expressionist. Quite an expressionist sort of part of the Bauhaus. Like he was
Very
a teacher,
influential.
very influential, but he was a bit more, I suppose, crazy with the things that he did. He was a bit more expressive. He kind of started to look at like forms and nature and wasn't super geometric, whereas like a lot of the other sort of Bauhaus artists and big names are quite sort of geometric, quite mathematical in the way that they approach design. So I think that this will be quite a nice sort of more expressive, maybe more arty and illustrative approach to the posters.
I love it. I'm excited. And maybe even a little bit as you start to move along, we can take a look at what you did yesterday, because I'd love to show the audience if they didn't get to see it. There were some beautiful posters that Caterina created while Erik was here, and they had a lovely dialogue that was going on. And he was pretty excited, especially since you were using red.
Yeah, I know.
Which was his favorite color.
Yeah. But today we're going to kind of maybe look at the other font, which is Xantz. And this is a bit more decorative. It feels still quite stencil in its like format, but it kind of fits in a little bit more with the sort of Paul Klee aesthetic in terms of how like decorative, and it's got a bit more thinness to it. So today it's going to be looking more at form.
Love it.
Yeah.
Great.
See how it goes.
Well, chat, you heard it here first. We will be looking at Paul Klee using Xantz, so maybe if you can download those now, you can follow along and even design alongside Caterina, which would be pretty cool.
Okay, so I'm going to maybe just start by, what I often do is like if I'm doing posters or if I'm kind of like working on a project, I like to kind of gather a bit of reference imagery. This can sometimes be just for color reference and sometimes just for like shape reference. So there's like some stuff here which I think is quite interesting. This use of this neon is super cool, so I'm going to open that.
Yeah.
I like the forms.
The neon's great with all of the geometric shapes.
Yeah, it's quite interesting the way it builds. I like this aspect of these sort of moving forms and this sort of the feeling of things kind of arching, and I think that it would be quite interesting to use sort of juxtaposition with this very rigid sort of typeface with these sort of more natural feeling forms. I quite like some of the colors in this one, so I'm going to pull that open as well.
Do you find that even when you're working and doing a mood board with someone else's art as your inspiration, that you still find your own background and your heritage as part of your influence in your own design?
Yeah, I think so. My parents
because you're from a lot of different places. We were talking about this earlier, and I was like, that's a lot of places.
Yeah, so basically, I am first generation Italian.
Yep. Bianchini.
Yeah. I have a very Italian name, but I grew up in Edinburgh. So I grew up in Scotland, which is where the accent comes from.
Yeah, someone had pointed that out in chat yesterday.
Yeah, I think it's quite funny because I think a lot of people assume that my, like, you know, when they meet me or something, that like I'm going to sound super Italian.
Yeah.
It's very Scottish, yeah.
Well, and there's a little London in there too.
Yeah, so my studio and like where I live is in London. So yes, so I've got a wee bit of that as well.
Oh, Siobhan is saying that she lived in Edinburgh for 13 years, so that's pretty great. And I think she had actually entered in Logo yesterday, so maybe we'll get to see another one today.
Yeah, do.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. But my dad actually like collects and sells antiques, so a lot of my, I think, visual, I've like been brought up, you know, around a lot of sort of visual things, really interesting objects, interesting sort of like people even coming to like shop at the shop, whatever. So I think having that also in my background and in my heritage has really like made a difference, because it kind of makes me, I suppose, like look at things maybe in a little bit of a different way and have this appreciation. Yeah, it has. I actually go to the auction with my dad now.
Oh, that's super fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's so
you're on paddle, then he knows you're not serious, and you're like, $20,000. He's like, don't take her seriously.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he actually always says that before we go in. He's like, no, come on, like you've got to be like a bit careful here.
Calm
Don't
down.
go too crazy.
Right.
But it's hard, you know. I think I'm maybe actually a lot more competitive than I thought I was.
Yeah, right. Especially in those situations, you're like, I could get this. It could be mine.
Yeah.
That's really funny. My dad's the same way.
Is he?
Yeah. He loves going to those auctions at Christie's and Sotheby's.
Oh my
He's
goodness,
like,
that's
you know
amazing.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So like some of these references are quite different, and I think that's quite deliberate, because I think yesterday, because we were really focusing on
The letter forms.
it was quite geometric. I think today I want to look at something that's a little bit more smooth, maybe like different sorts of lines, introducing not so harsh colors.
Oh, yeah. You can tell by some of the ones that you're pulling out. They're very different, but they're far different from what you had explored yesterday.
Yesterday was super geometric.
And chat, if you have any questions for Caterina, please do type them in and I will get to them and ask. Yay! So I'm curious where everybody else is from. I know that Caterina's from like 7 different places, so chat, let us know, where are you chiming in from around the world? It's always exciting to see.
Yeah, let's see if there's anybody from Edinburgh.
Well, we do have Siobhan, so yes,
yeah.
although I don't think she's there right now.
Yeah, I think that was, I don't know what way that is spelling that name. Because I have a friend, but she spells it slightly different. So I don't know.
Oh, from Seattle.
Oh, Seattle.
Portugal, Italy.
Ooh, nice.
You're like, ooh, Italy.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh. Yes, Ricardo, Angela, Ivy's from Orlando, Florida. Siobhan said it's a made-up American spelling. So.
That's
South
cool.
Africa, Angel, Omar.
Wow,
Mexico,
so many.
Arizona.
This is amazing.
All over the world. India. This is exciting, guys. Buenos Aires. Marissa's from Buenos Aires. Nice. I love seeing where everyone's from. I always want to just go visit everyone. Alexander's from France. Frank is in Paris. Oh, hey, Frank. Frank's here. Yeah. Oh, so good.
So today I'm going to try, so yesterday with Joseph Albers, I kind of looked at a quote from him. And today we're going to look at this quote from Paul Klee, which if something looks wrong, it might actually be right.
Oh,
and
I
I
like
think
that.
this is super cool. It's just
Yeah.
a very sort of, I think this is really an ethos in the way I design. Something that I always try and like make things almost look a little bit wrong or a little bit not right, typography-wise, color-wise. I quite like to create things that people would often not use or maybe not
Question
think.
a
Yeah,
little
like
bit,
question
yeah.
a wee bit. And the
Well,
reason,
I think that quote goes well with questioning.
yeah, and I think though that that's a good way because I think that something that looks wrong is a lot more intriguing than something that looks right.
Yeah, because
I
people
mean-
will, like Erik Spiekermann had said yesterday, people will take their time and look at it because they don't quite understand it at first, so it draws them in.
Exactly.
And I think
yeah.
there's something really entertaining about that in communication design because you're communicating, but you're also hiding a message.
Yeah, I think there is something quite interesting in doing that when you're designing. And I also think it's just about using your natural eye. Like if there's things that you feel like you think look right and that, like, you know, you want it, that's good because that
Yeah.
kind of shapes your style. It makes you have your own individual style rather than just designing something that
Very
most
true.
people
Yeah.
kind of would do or would take from it.
Well,
So,
yeah, and you also don't want to be like other people. I
Yes.
think that's the whole point,
I
at
think-
least as a designer.
Yeah, I think when
we
you-
tend to go our own ways.
Exactly. But that's good though. And
I think so.
that sometimes it's good to learn, like, or be influenced, like
Yeah.
these, like especially like this sort of art, like expressionism and looking a little bit more at these sort of like abstract and surreal,
Yeah.
almost compositions. To
Very
me,
beautiful.
I find super interesting. I love stuff like this. So right now I'm just kind of, because today, you know, this is the sort of main influence, I'm going in and I'm kind of looking at the art and I'm pulling out some of the colors that I think are really nice and really interesting and that I could maybe try to build into some posters.
It's also a great way to find interesting color palettes by
Palettes.
looking to the past and past artwork, mainly because they're working from limited palettes or
Yeah.
what they had around them in the environment that they grew up in, or
Sometimes even just the paint. Like,
exactly
of what was
paint was
actually
available.
existed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's super interesting. I
Yeah.
love this.
Oh,
sort-
that's a great palette.
Yeah, so we've got some interesting things.
It definitely
here.
looks like sunrise to sunset. It's like a burnt
Yeah,
orange with a
there's
nice
some-
blue
this
sea.
one- yeah, there's
Yeah.
some interesting stuff. So this font is lovely, I think, if we just kind of zoom in on this and take a look at it a little bit closer as well.
Nice.
There's some really lovely sort of intricacies in the dot, in these sort of thin to thick elements as well that are coming in.
And Yadira was asking, who is the quote by again?
This is by Paul Klee.
Paul Klee.
Yes, so that's where we're going to be looking at, mainly referencing today as well.
Awesome.
So yeah, I think that but what's nice, what I really like about this is the dots combined with these really thin lines and these really thick sort
Yeah.
of borders. And I think that there's some sort of relation between the thinness of some of these lines and these sort of sketches, you know?
And it's
these,
a bit of a stencil too, right?
yes, I think
Yeah, you
it's-
can't tell when it's very small, but the larger it gets, the more apparent the stencil is.
That's right, yeah, I think there's some interesting stuff. So let's get maybe let's just start playing with some color. Get some color on here.
Nice.
and start to maybe build into it. So maybe to begin with, because we're looking at form, we can actually like look into the typeface and see what we've got.
Find some shapes?
Yeah, so we've got some circles, and I think how I would always kind of draw a circle, I don't like things to look too perfect.
Too perfect?
Yeah, so which
I noticed that
everyone's
in the style of your work. I really appreciate that because I can't draw a straight line on my own, so.
I prefer not to have straight lines.
Exactly.
But you see, if you use the brush and you just blow up, it kind of creates these natural sort of indents on the side. And I think that looks nicer than having something that is super, you know, like
too
rounded
uniform.
or too uniform. Yeah, I think it gives it more of like an arty feel. And what I would usually do with something like this is I would go and I would expand the object. So I would go expand appearance, and this creates it into an actual form.
Nice.
And this then allows me to kind of like color pick or change the color, like play around a little bit with it, with these forms and how they sit. So we've got a circle, and in here we've got some interesting sort of rectangles and things. So I'm going to duplicate this, I'm going to outline, and I'm going to try and start pulling in some of these interesting sort of shapes. And I think as well, like Paul Klee worked a lot with this sort of intuitive way of like designing, and he was really about nature, balance, and like harmony in design as well. So, you know, looking for these sort of natural things that were already, you know, in design, or like in a design element that he would
in nature
try
that
and
he would make into design.
pull out. Yeah. So using this is maybe just as like a sort of platform. It feels to me like this is a bit too rigid in comparison to the circle. So what I would usually do is maybe go in and like redraw this sort of rectangular shape in quite a just a different way, you know, instead of just keeping it, using it as a reference, but just kind of building in our own sort of interpretation of it. And I think that that's what it should be about, creating interesting little dips and things so that it's not...
Hey Tim Mobest, how are you, man? Good to have you in the chat. And I see that Gus is there too. Hey Gus. It's nice to have some Adobe Live folks out there.
So I'm just gonna see what else. Let's see if we've got something a bit more cute.
Mobeast, that's right. I usually call Tim Mobeast, even though he's the best. It's pretty good.
Is Tim
Tim's part of us.
Oh, cool.
He's one of us. Berlin? Yeah, he said that the German streams are next week. Very exciting, yeah.
Cool.
Good morning, everyone, and good evening, and good night.
So in this, I'm going in and I'm adding additional sort of points. And that's just because I want it to feel, again, this sort of, maybe more of like a sort of scrapbooky, nothing too
playful.
simple. And it kind of creates this really interesting dynamic between the shapes. Everything almost feels like it's, you know, if you moved it a little bit, it might fall off.
Yeah,
or
exactly, like it's Jenga.
It's got some sort of movement to it. And I think that that creates quite an interesting little dynamic here.
Yeah, it's also very like a paper cutout in a way.
Yeah.
Which is really fun.
Yeah, I think like...
Feels like handmade.
Exactly, yeah. I think there's some sort of, and that is like a big thing I'd say in a lot of my design is I try to always make stuff feel a wee bit more hand done. And often I do a lot of like shape making by hand, and then I'll pull it in to something. But I mean, today we are doing everything on the computer, so.
Love it.
So let's just start and just see if we can bring in a bit of typography into this and build it out a bit.
Yeah, so for those of you who are just joining us now, we have Caterina Bianchini here working on poster designs using the Bauhaus Dessau Lost Types from Hidden Treasures. And if you want, you can download those fonts on the Challenge tab. And we have a competition going on where if you design a logo using those fonts and submit it in the next hour, you have a chance to win a year of Creative Cloud. It's a pretty good win.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I really think that is amazing.
Yeah, it's a pretty great win. Every time I'm like, wow, I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah, if I was a student and I like was getting that opportunity, I think
Totally.
I would very much. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just kind of playing, you know, I've not pre-thought about any of this. I'm literally designing live. So like something in here isn't feeling right because I feel like these feel too rigid in comparison to the shapes. So what I'm going to go in is I'm going to go in and start to like move things a little bit so everything starts to feel like it's got this little bit of movement in it, and we're going to just see how things start to work out if we
Rasaji says he loves this composition, asymmetrical yet balanced.
Cool. That's what we're going for.
Nice. Awesome.
And then
this is getting fun.
I think.
Yeah.
And the thing with Bauhaus was that they really did have a lot of fun, especially with typography. That was like one of their main sort of like you'd kind of see these you know, these people, and the structures maybe would feel quite geometric and almost quite rigid, but the way that they played with typography was actually super sort of playful and interesting and a bit different. They weren't scared to kind of try out new things.
Yeah.
So let's just see.
And even to have things be a little bit more illegible.
Yeah.
Which was kind of breaking all the norms for the time.
Yeah. But that's why I think sometimes having people, you know, like your audience or whatever, have to work things out a little bit is, to me, is more interesting than if
they can just read it right away.
Just read it, yeah. That's what I think. So I just want to get this feeling of almost like these things are kind of jumping off each other and they're playing off one another, and that's how this composition is starting to take shape.
Cool. Yeah, it's looking great. It's super fun. Ivy says she loves the brightness of the blue with the contrast of the red.
Cool. I think that
I do too, Ivy. It's super fun.
I feel like this needs to change a wee bit. I feel like there needs to be something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. In just a little bit, like Tim had mentioned, we're going to give away an Adobe pillow. So pillow hype is coming soon. All you have to do is be in the chat, say something, type something. Oh yeah, there's the pillow. Pretty cool. I was like, wait, I'll hold it. Ah! It's floating. That's courtesy of Michael Shays. You could be the wiener.
Oh my gosh.
Amazing. Yes. Everyone's like, ooh.
Okay, I think I'm trying to just kind of work.
Everyone loves the Adobe pillows. It's a thing, yeah.
What is this? Is this going to be given away as a surprise?
Yeah, it's going to be given away as long as someone's in the chat and they're talking about design, whatever, just saying hello, reaching out and telling us where they're from. As long as they're active in the chat, then they have a chance to win. That's right.
That's cool. So
yep.
What I like to do when I'm like kind of working with this sort of stuff is I always like to put in my own texture. So I'm going in and I'm kind of adding these little ink dots, and I just kind of like it because it makes it feel a bit more real.
Yeah.
Now usually like I would try and like print stuff out or make shapes like actually with paper and then scan them in, because I think that it makes a nicer sort of feeling to things. But I think.
And are you creating the ink dots just by using the brush, or do you have a palette that you use on your own?
No, I just use the brush. So I'll do sort of a thin dot, and then sometimes I'll bring that dot up and I'll do a double dot, and it kind of creates this interesting little dynamic between them.
Awesome.
So I think that this is looking quite
Yes,
good.
so Akash, the challenge today is to download the fonts on the challenge tab and design a logo using those fonts. And then in about an hour, we're gonna review all the logos, and Caterina's gonna pick the winner, and they will win a subscription to Creative Cloud, which is a pretty good win.
Wow, that's cool. So I think I'm doing kind of pretty quick posters, but I'll try and do a few. So for this one, I feel like this is looking quite nice. I feel like there's some interesting compositional sort of things going on with the letters, just kind of feeling a little bit like they're interacting with one another.
That's great.
In comparison to this sort of shape going on in the middle. And I think my sort of final touch is always to kind of use, computer has died. Some interesting sort of textures. So I make these myself, and then I kind of import them onto the computer, and I use them. So.
And what do you end up making your textures out of? And
sometimes it's literally like I'll just scan like nothing.
Like nothing?
Yeah, and it will
I love it.
this,
You're like, I just scan.
I just scan nothing, and then other times I'll sort of, if I've made like a font or something, you can do this really cool thing in like the scan where you can like put it in, and like as it's scanning, you move it.
Oh,
and it creates this really interesting sort of like tapered textured design. It's really cool.
Yeah. So, is that one of the ones that you have in there right now that you've moved?
No, this one isn't. This is just like a normal.
You're like, that one's regular. You're like, I didn't move that one. Yeah. That one's so basic.
I think if you like make a design and then you maybe like pull it in and then bring it in and then do that, it creates something quite interesting. But what I like about this is it pulls in some, you know, it gives this element of texture, and I think that to me always feels a little bit nicer.
Well, it makes them all sing together like they're part of the same family versus being separate elements.
Yeah. It feels
correlates them in a way that you can't do sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. And it feels better. And sometimes I'll really go in with the thing. So I think for this one, for our first poster, I'm kind of happy with that. I'm not super happy with it, but I think.
So Steve is asking, do you work on a Cintiq too?
A Cintiq?
The big Wacom table?
Oh, I work on actually a really small one, a bamboo.
This one, right?
So it's just like this.
Yeah, just tiny one.
It's tiny.
I mean, unless you're doing really big work.
Yeah, well, like
it feels like it's all you need. Do you travel a lot though? So
I travel quite a lot, yeah. So I find that like this suits me a wee bit better. Like I'm now like on this.
Just a wee bit?
A wee bit. That's Scottish. That's
I was like, just a wee bit?
Yeah,
or like a little bit? A wee bit?
That's super,
it's
super
very Scottish. I was like, oh yeah, we got you.
Yeah. You have.
Just a wee bit.
You have got me, definitely.
I love it.
Oh man, that is super
You're like,
Scottish.
It suits me a wee.
Okay, so I'm going to start. You'll hear that honestly.
And
like,
I love it
so much more. So I'm not going to
see with the American accent. Super boring. It's you know we don't have anything
I'm American,
fun. Really?
So, yeah.
I would never think that with your accent.
Honestly, I think it's where I went to uni or something. Like. I don't know. Like I went to uni in the north of Scotland in a place called Aberdeen.
Yeah, exactly. You say uni, we say college.
Yeah. Okay, so it is different.
Yes.
I don't know. Do people know Aberdeen? Is there anyone from Aberdeen out there?
Anyone from Aberdeen, please chime in now. Please have Caterina feel more comfortable with her wee accent.
It's so true. Okay, so this one, I'm going to kind of reference these more like expressive, fun shapes.
I love those.
Yeah,
they're like little blocks walking away.
I love it. I love Paul Klee. He was amazing.
They're super cute.
So I'm going to try, and I do this quite a lot with like a lot of the work that I do. I'll try and do a one-line drawing, so I won't take my pen off.
All right, guys, it's that time to chat and win. You keep line drawing, and everyone else is going to be chatting for pillows. We've got some pillow hype, so are you ready? And he'll put it in the chat.
I will let you know on episode.
We're chatting, we're winning, pillow hype, go, 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 go. Yep, all you have to do is say you want it, say you're here, and it could be yours. So much hype. Everyone's really excited.
What do they have to do?
They just have to be in chat and say something. Type in anything.
I love this.
Usually something nice helps, or the word pillow. Yes, bring the pillow. I mean, the chat's just going wild. It's insane.
What the hell? Who's gonna get the pillow?
Who will get the pillow? You're like, I'm taking the pillow home, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, guys, it's a joke. It's mine.
Yeah.
Nobody's
just
getting
kidding.
it.
No one's getting the pillow. Caterina's keeping it.
Okay, so this is my one drawing. one line drawing.
Yeah, pillow fight. Oh, I love that.
So maybe we can just...
It's super fun. I see a nose in there somewhere.
Do you? Oh,
Yeah, up at the top.
You know, it'd be interesting to see what people see in it. If
It's
that
like
is a
clouds.
thing.
Yeah. Adobe Live does rock. Okay, we have a winner, Cindy Singh.
Wow.
Very exciting. Yay, Cindy! Woo! You won the pillow. That pillow is yours.
Oh, wow.
That's right. Whoever didn't win the pillow, sad day. Oh, there it is. I'm like... Sound effects. That's what you get.
So she got the pillow.
She got the pillow, yeah. Nice job, Cindy. Congratulations. Just for being you, you get a pillow.
What's she gonna do with the pillow?
Probably sleep on it and dream of design. That's what I would do.
That's a good idea.
Amazing. Are you gonna make your boxes walk away too?
I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna go that.
Maybe not that far. We don't want to be that
Expressive.
Paul Klee.
I mean, you know, I'm
Yeah.
referencing.
Right.
I don't know. I'm just experimenting here a wee bit with color, so I'm thinking a little bit about how I want it to feel.
Just a wee bit.
Oh, sorry.
No, I love it.
That's gonna keep coming.
I'm gonna start saying we too. But I mean, I guess we're in France, so when I say wee bit, you're like,
Yeah.
yes, bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's the actual language.
Just a yes bit.
Yeah.
They're like, why is she saying yes all the time?
Oh my god, I love this. So with this one, I might be a bit more minimal, maybe. I don't know. And I'm gonna just outline the type. So again, we're still looking at these ideas of form. This time it's like the outline. I think with the next poster, I'll maybe actually go in and we'll maybe blow up one letter and maybe
Yeah.
try and play with things around that letter.
Oh, I like it.
But I think on this one, we can start to think about how we would introduce some typography into this. And maybe because we went so big with the last one, let's make this one smaller.
Cool.
And what I would usually do with something
It's nice to see the contrast already.
with, yeah, it is interesting. I'm just thinking, I actually might, I'm just gonna undo this. I think that this could be a wee bit more interesting if we spaced it out a wee bit. So I'm gonna go into the character.
So keep it live, yep.
Yep. I'm gonna keep it live and maybe go in and pull it out a wee bit. Let's say 75.
Nice.
So we're starting to kind of pull in
Yep.
a little bit of
Just
space in
track
between
it out.
everything. Yeah. And then I'm gonna outline it. I'm gonna make it a wee bit smaller. And I'm gonna start to bring it into the actual poster format. So for this one, I think it might be quite cool if we just do some small type running along, like maybe just even the top and the bottom.
Nice.
I don't know, we'll see how it goes.
I'm excited to see how this is turning out
Yeah,
already.
I don't know. I don't even know
I like how
it's
minimal it
gonna-
is with the white. It's just really clean.
I'm thinking, yeah, I feel like it should maybe all be like shades, interesting
Yeah.
shades of blue. For me, I feel like line form, I think it looks a lot better when it's thinner.
Agreed.
So I think it has more of like a feeling of modern art or something, I don't know. It just feels
More like a
bit
pencil
arty.
drawing. Just
Yeah.
very delicate.
It feels a bit nicer. So I'm gonna go in here. And what I usually do when I'm like working with typography is I'll try and make things look a little bit, I don't know, abnormal, a bit different. So I'm gonna pull in some of them. I'm gonna like tilt some of them.
Nice.
And maybe just bring a few down, up, leave a few, and again.
Oh, hey, Cindy, you made it on. Yay, you're welcome. Pretty cool. Alyssa says it reminds her of figure drawing and contour drawing class, which is cool.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
got a similar
very
vibe.
fluid.
Yeah, which is, I think,
I feel like that's kind of what Paul Klee was going for with that piece of art.
yeah, his sketches were super interesting because they were a bit more expressive. Like he obviously has some stuff which feels really gridded.
Yeah. And it's nice to see some variance in his own work when, you know, you're pulling out all that he's done. He was very diverse.
Yes, yeah.
So there wasn't one main style that he would always do. It was really nice that there was so much in his body of work that you can pull from as inspiration.
I mean, yeah, like some of his stuff is so arty. It's so sort of expressive and quite blocky, actually. Like a lot of his like poster paintings are actually like big, sort of really thick, sort of like blocks of shapes and things like this. So I'm like really going in here with just going a bit mad with it all. But
I like
think
it though.
that it looks.
And I like how the comma is just on its own.
Just saying. I feel like we need to add something though. Something is feeling like it's not working to me. I'm not sure. I've not worked it out yet, but I kind of want to explore the colors a wee bit, I think.
Yeah. Hello, Pablo. Welcome from Spain. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Jim.
I don't know. Maybe it's too much.
Yeah,
Let's
looks
see.
good.
There'd be maybe something in these if we just. This is how often sometimes how I just even find.
You have to try things out. I think, you know, like we were talking about yesterday, a lot of times the first thing is the right thing, but then you have to go through everything else just to make sure.
Yeah. Just to try to see if it works.
Then sometimes you find something really interesting as you're, you know, as developing it, as you're searching. Yeah, you're like, oh, wow, I'm going to use that for something else, for a different project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that this is. So I'm going to go back in again, and I'm going to just play with this font a wee bit and just mess things up a little.
Yeah. Like I just want to mess some things up, you know,
I'm just gonna
as you do.
It a wee bit, yeah.
It's the job of a designer, right? Yeah. We're going to mess everything up. We're sorry. We can't help it. It's what our job is.
Well, you know, design is all about trying stuff. That's what I think. And that's a lot of the time, like if a client comes to you with a problem, which is usually, you know, what design is about, it is really about just experimentation and just trying like different things, expressing yourself in slightly different ways and just seeing if it works.
Well, and they're asking you in particular with your mind and your aesthetic to solve a problem.
Yeah.
You know, not just because you have the skills to do it, but also because they're curious as to what you might come up with.
Exactly, yeah. And I think that it does play a sort of a big part in just also having maybe like the confidence, I don't know, to go in and work on something.
Yeah, and trust your gut. I think that's really important. You were saying that earlier about, you know, creating your own style and sticking with, you know, your own feeling of what you think is right versus what everyone else is doing.
Yes, exactly.
So Yadira actually had a great question. She was asking if you tend to use a grid.
No, I don't use grids.
I don't either.
No, I do not use grids.
Someone was teaching me how to make a diagonal grid today with lines, and I was like, this is incredible. And I was like, I guess I have to use this now.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I was like, but I won't.
See, with me, I think like, yeah, you can. Like, I think it's a good thing.
Depends on the thing you're doing, you know?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to learn with, maybe. But I feel like...
Depends on what you're working on.
Yeah, exactly.
Like packaging, yeah. But posters, I think it's all on the feeling.
Yeah, I do agree with that. So what I might do is, I think if you find it easier to work with a grid, then obviously do that. But for me, I like things kind of like to feel and look a bit scrapbooky, to not look super sort of
not too polished.
Pre-thought about, things like this. So
yeah.
I think that's where I like try and explore these things. So this to me is just feeling a bit too yellow. So what I'm going to do is just go in. Sometimes what I'll do is like for a background, so it doesn't feel super contrasty, I'll kind of, if I highlight this pink, for instance, I'll then open my color and I'll select like a white, but in the pink tone. Yeah. So because actually when you change,
it feels a little warmer.
It feels a little warmer, yeah. So you can, I meant to select that. If you actually, sometimes, you know, if you like change it on the side here, the white will go more yellow.
From cool to warm,
exactly. Yep. So, and I think it creates, you see, it's not stark, but there's something there.
Yeah, it's just a hint. which sometimes is all you need. Because there's, even in the Pantone book, there's cool grays and light grays and warm grays and blue gray.
So what I'm doing here is kind of creating this interesting contrast, like juxtaposition of the shapes, which is kind of, you know, like developing these super sort of interesting, I'm trying to just think, I feel like a nice blue would maybe work
fun.
in here, or like
Love
a green or something. But trying to introduce these shapes that kind of create, these are filled and quite blocky and almost like playing with each other, in contrast to this line that's on top, and it creates this interesting sort of dynamic between.
I really like the pink, green, and red play off of each other.
It's starting to look a bit interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like the type maybe needs to.
Sander said that he ran home just from work to be here. He was like, I ran all the way home.
You're joking.
Nope.
Well,
That's right. The chat is loving it. This
really
is great.
Well, you're getting to know all my secrets.
Welcome, chat. Yes. Well, they love it. Alyssa said it's very inspiring, and Colby, it reminds him of a brain.
A brain.
Which I love that comment too. I'm
mean,
like, it's kind of
whatever.
brain-like. I like it.
It's expressive. So whatever you take from
I saw a little man with a big nose.
Did you?
Yeah, with two big chunky feet,
That's
and then
cool.
a giant nose.
Okay, I'm gonna go
cute.
in something. I don't know. Sometimes I can't really always explain what I'm doing, just because it's. I think as designer, you usually have an eye. So something sometimes just doesn't feel right. Something wasn't feeling right. I feel like this is starting to feel.
Although
more right.
if something looks wrong,
okay, yeah, this
it might
is
be
true.
right.
Yeah, this is very true.
But I'm just saying.
But it looked too normal. I think was.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I'm gonna go in and I'm just gonna mess it up a wee bit more.
This is so funny. You're like, something's not right.
Yeah, it's still just. We're just gonna go in.
Classic.
And just be a bit more crazy, I think, with everything. I think.
Oh yeah.
As well, it just starts to. It's the balance. I think that's what it is. It's like you know when something isn't quite balanced. So filling this in. And what's nice about this is you're starting to create this language where people have to
kind of tilt their head a little bit.
Yeah, but they have to look a bit further. It's not just in front of their face.
We were doing quite a bit of that with the logos yesterday. We were all like, wait a second, what about this?
Yeah. So again, I'm gonna go in and I think I'll do some, let's say green dots this time. And just start to build these in. I'm gonna reduce this down a wee bit.
And is there a specific brush palette that you use?
It's just normal. Yeah, it's just like
the regular brush?
I mean, I'm on 5-point round at the moment.
Nice.
But usually I'm on basic, and I just kind of go in and again, I like this. I really like it when the dots actually interact with the type. So you kind of go in, you know, and it feels a bit more like it's actually come straight off a printing press.
Yeah.
Or something. And I think that creates an interesting.
That's great. Hi, Ali, welcome. You're new here. Well, for all of those who are just joining, we have about 45 minutes to enter today's challenge. And if you go to the challenge tab on the right of the screen, you can download the fonts that were from Erik Spiekermann and a bunch of design students that designed them from the Bauhaus Dessau Hidden Treasures. Yesterday we had Erik Spiekermann here, and him and Caterina walked through a bunch of different ideas on how to create some posters, and Caterina showed us some of her work. And then for the chat, you can download the logos or download the fonts and then design a logo. Today you have the ability to win a year of Creative Cloud, so pretty good challenge.
That's amazing.
I know, and the fonts are really cool. I mean, even just downloading them for your own use and playing with them later is pretty much a prize in itself.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. So I'm just gonna, again, finish this one off by adding a little bit of texture, just to give it this sort of feeling of, I don't know, I just really like it. I don't like things to look too vectorized, and I think that's maybe quite unusual as like a, or too, but you know, it creates this really
nice,
lovely.
though. Yeah, the banding in it is,
It's
it
interesting.
feels very much like it was just rolled through a rolling press.
Yes, and I like that.
Yeah, it's great.
And what I've kind of done is I sometimes often, if I feel like a background is looking a bit flat or feeling a bit flat, I go in and I create like some shapes. So I've added this
Yeah, it
sort
breaks
of,
it up a little bit.
breaks it up, and it creates this sort of interesting
It's lovely.
shape. Okay.
Hello, Ariane, Sionjun, welcome. Awesome.
So I think on this one, we will go and maybe actually like pull out one of the big, like a big letter from the actual.
Ooh, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah, I think, because there's so much.
I always love those G's, you know? G's and
Yeah.
R's, they're so good.
But this is really interesting because it doesn't really feel like a G. It feels like almost
No.
like this.
Almost like a baby J.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
a bit unusual. So let's go in. I think we'll do a sort of,
It's so playful.
maybe a pink and green for this. Let's see how we go. This is my favorite sort of color. I save all my colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like one of my main things is to kind of, like I like going in and kind of using specific color palettes and stuff.
Do you find that you end up using a lot of the same colors throughout most of your work, and then you like use that as a style almost, or a signature?
Sometimes. I like to experiment a lot with color though. So I like to, you know, sometimes if it just feels like it's something that I think would look good or would be a bit different to what I would usually use, and it's something that I'll try and try and integrate into something.
Yeah.
So with this, I'm thinking it could be quite cool to kind of build some forms on top of the actual type. And we're going to try and like take it away from this G. So we're going to make it into this, maybe like a little bit more of like a new thing
Yeah,
by
I like
adding
this.
these bits onto it.
Yeah, and it's neat to see how you're using that to break up the type too. It doesn't feel like a letter anymore.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot that you could explore with specifically like this one. I think is super cool.
Yeah. Siobhan says the ball looks like it's being dropped onto a pedestal.
Oh, that's
It kind of
cool,
does, yeah. Like someone's just shooting it and it's the follow through.
Yeah. So what that's actually that's given me a bit of an idea, and I think what I'm going to do is to make this feel a bit more expressive and a little bit less rigid. I'm going to try and so I'm just testing out my brushes.
I like this. You're like just testing it, you know.
Yeah. But I think I might go in and try and like put some like movement lines in here.
Oh, cool.
So start to kind of give it a bit of a feeling of like something.
Something that's hand drawn, even though it's
Yeah, I don't know.
rigid.
Something that's moving a little bit more, you know, giving a bit more of a sense of movement. And then again, it starts to the whole idea of it like being like a normal form or just like a letter. It starts to kind of come away from that a wee bit.
Karsten says he loves how fast this is. It's very impressive work.
I mean, this is probably not my best work, guys, but thank you.
Well, that's great.
I'm trying.
Because if this isn't your best, then I'm sure your best is very, very good. I think this is great.
It's one of those things where you kind of, I'm trying to just show you as much, like if I was given this as like a designer,
Yeah.
all the things I'd want to try, and obviously
It's
I'd
endless.
work. This is it. I think like there's some super cool sort of interesting sort of compositions that you can find just in these forms, and I think that's cool. So I'm just trying to work out
The
some.
palette's great.
You like it?
Yeah. I rarely see purple used with like a deep green like that.
Yeah,
I think it's really fun.
So this was kind of our original G, and then this is how we've built into it. So it's starting to look quite nice.
Yeah,
I think this one. I think it's
totally cool.
got a really nice little playful edge to it, and I think you know what would be super cool with this is to see how many posters. I mean, this even could be a challenge for someone. How many posters you could create out of just these?
Oh yeah.
You know,
endless.
Like it could be like a really
We can see it here
interesting-
today with you.
I was just about to try. And
You're like, so I just made a new challenge for myself. You're like,
I'm gonna
I'm
try.
going to now do the G series.
oh gosh. I don't know why I've done this.
I love it. You're like, oh
Maybe.
shoot, did I just put myself down a hole?
Yeah, but let's see. You know,
play with
I want to
it.
see. I want to see if I can. Let me see. And maybe
I
I'll
do
go
too.
in and play with these colors a wee bit. So we'll just start with this for now and then go and see. So let's like unthingy everything. So we've got this huge big rectangle. So let's pull this.
Sander Geese says that I love G. Obviously, Sander, we get it. It's your last name.
It's always like, you know, what's really interesting is, I think Erik was saying yesterday that he looks at like characters as a, like typographic, like letter forms and stuff, as little like people or
Yeah,
like
his
little
friends.
actual characters. And I really, really agree with that.
I do
Like,
too.
I think it's one of those things wherever I use typography, especially in my posters, I try to make them kind of feel like, and I think that's, you know, like it's a human or like it's sad or like it's happy or whatever.
Yeah, some letters look like rotund. He was like, oh, that A is very fat. And I was like, it kind of is.
Yeah.
It's like a little old man.
But it's like, I'm doing this the quick way, so I'm just kind of hiding this behind here. But we're starting to kind of get, again, like more of like an interesting.
It looks like a person with 2 feet
Do you
walking.
think? Yeah, I don't know. I'm almost inclined to, I feel like I want to redraw this big shape here. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to use the G as an inspiration point. I'm just using the pen tool to create a sort of curve here. I'm going to just stop here, do another little curve.
Very cool.
And I'm going to just create this sort of interesting shape that has kind of been inspired by the arch of this G.
The blue is lovely with that red. It's really nice. It's a great palette.
It's quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So with this one, we've taken the elements of the G and we're kind of building this new
new
sort
playful
of,
G.
Sort of G. Yeah, it's building onto it. I mean, I don't know if it looks like a G anymore, but it kind of creates this
It's pretty fun though.
interesting little fun play on things. I feel like this one should look a little bit like it's about to fall over.
I like it though.
So this, again, just kind of developing, just going to center that a wee bit. And we've got a pretty like geometric but quite fun little exploration which has been taken from this.
Yeah.
And I'm on these ones, I'm going to add a little grain so that we get this sort of really lovely little illustrative effect on these.
Yeah, the textures are great.
They make a huge difference.
They do.
A
I mean, it's a
really
beautiful
big difference.
poster in form already, but then with the textures, it just marries it all together
It
so
becomes
nicely.
something else.
Yeah.
And I think for this, we'll add some type into this one. So let's just write Paul Klee. I wonder actually if there's some hidden things in the glyph
Oh.
of this. So let's hover and see. Usually on the new Illustrator, if you just kind of hover over it, I don't think there is some. Oh, that's a shame. Okay, and then with this one, I wonder what we could do with the type to make it a bit more interesting.
We're like, any glyphs anywhere?
Yeah, I know, it's like...
You're like, are they hidden? Now with that type tool that you can just hover, it's great. I
It's
find
cool,
so
yeah.
many hidden things that
I
I never
know,
would have
it's
before.
amazing.
Yeah.
But even like this, I feel like this is looking already super sort of Bauhaus.
Ah, yes. Frank said we could open the glyphs palette and take a look. There could be something really deep in there.
Yeah, we actually could. Let me.
Thanks, Frank.
Hold on. I don't like that. I've decided I don't like that. Experimenting. I don't know. This one almost feels like a book cover
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
I don't know what everyone else thinks, but it kind of has this.
It's like the Falling G by
Fashion.
Paul Klee.
Yeah. And maybe I don't know. Do we keep it black or do Should we try and build in something else? What would work here?
I like it black.
You like it black?
Yeah, it really
I
stands
feel like I
out.
need to see it.
You got to see it in other colors.
I need to see it.
You have to. You have that palette there.
This is me. Yeah.
You're like, I've got to do it. You guys have got to.
I've got to just see.
Just a wee bit of color.
I quite like this because I feel like
yeah.
it's making more of a sort
It's
of
more of a statement.
a statement.
For
yeah.
sure.
This is, what have I done here? This is how not to. But it's making more of a,
Yeah.
we're playing more with what's already there. And I think that to me is a bit more interesting. So these are starting to come. I feel like, to be honest, I feel like this one feels a little bit odd now. But maybe I was just kind of,
You're like, no, I was just having fun, guys.
I was having fun with that one. We'll get rid of it. I feel like this looks, it's starting to feel a bit more like a nice, sort of consistent set. We've got something interesting going on.
I still liked that one down there.
Do you?
though. Oh, yeah.
What does everyone else think? Should we keep
Chat,
that one?
chat, what do you think? I think we should keep that other poster. I love the hand-drawn
I think I should
heel.
redo it. I don't
I don't
know.
know. I don't know if we should get rid of it.
I've decided I don't think it's that good.
I like
What
it.
does everyone else?
What do you guys think? Keep it.
Keep it.
Keep it. Keep it.
Oh, no.
Everyone's like, keep it, keep it. Yeah, we're going against what you think. Because you know what? Sometimes when things look wrong, it's actually right.
Oh, God. You guys, you're killing me. Okay,
right.
fine. We'll
We'll
keep
keep
it for
it.
now. But I think
Now I feel like there's a progression.
you think?
Well, no, not yet, but
I
you
think-
know, maybe there's something in between those two that you have to create that you haven't created yet.
I'm thinking this.
You know,
I'm
there's a
wondering-
bridge that has to be made.
I'm wondering if it would be cool to kind of explore drawing.
Yep, Paloma loves the last one. I mean,
Do you?
yeah.
You can have it, Paloma.
Listen here, you can have it. Great.
Free
They're probably like,
poster.
send it my way. Everyone's putting their addresses in now.
So I think what would be quite cool is because it would be nice to kind of explore the forms again in this type. And I think what I would quite like to do is actually start to take a couple. So maybe we just start with Paul, for instance, and we start to really remove all of these elements and see what it creates. Like, is there different forms that we can kind of I don't know, is there different forms that we can, I don't know why this is, does anyone know how to, I don't know why this is, if we can kind of create something completely different that is based on these forms so that they almost become illegible. Well, they're going to become illegible.
You're like,
That's
oh,
what
we're going to make them illegible, all right.
And we're going to play with scale, we're going to play with some line. So let's just pull this massive. Just do this, and I think that this actually could be rotated and feel a little bit like it's just leaning.
It's still legible as a P, which is interesting, but not anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, nope, not anymore.
I'm going to go in. So, what's interesting about this A is that it's got this thinness to it, and I think that that's quite nice. But I'm going to go in. I'm actually going to remove some of it. I think I'm going to get rid of that. So I'm going to create this new shape out of it, and I'm going to get rid of that, and we're just going to put back in that point that's gone. Just kind of add that back in, so it creates this really nice thin, which I think creates an interesting.
And don't forget to submit your logos. We have an amazing challenge today using the type that is on the challenge bar. You can download the 2 fonts from Bauhaus Dessau, the Adobe Hidden Treasures, and use those to create a logo. Submit your logo, and then you could win a year of Creative Cloud. Caterina is going to go through and select the winner in about a half an hour.
Ooh, I'm really excited to see
I know.
these.
There were so many good ones yesterday.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it yesterday.
I loved the Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
It was great.
Oh, it would be, like, is there any way today we can see what they're kind of based on? Can people, can they send them with like a bit of a, or no? Or maybe,
I mean, they
do you know
can.
what? It's maybe good if we have to decide.
To guess, yes.
Because that's a logo.
Well, that's
should-
kind of the way logos work. You have to understand it from
Yeah.
looking at it without any context.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting. So what I'm going to do again in here, so this is super interesting because it's becoming quite constructionist. It's really losing a lot of this. And this is Paul.
It's looking really good, yeah.
You know, this is our friend Paul in here.
Yeah.
In this mess of shapes.
Yeah, it definitely makes the rest, that one to the left, not look like a family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this
I
is
can see where you're going
I think
now.
this is what I was saying, guys.
You're like, I said it, you guys, I said it.
I feel
and
like
Sally was like, I agree.
Did she?
Yeah, she agreed with you. I just, you know,
She's on
we
my
were just
wavelength.
saying, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cool poster, but I feel like in the set,
In the set. Well, if we're making a set, then of course not.
and this is the thing, I felt like yesterday it felt like a bit of a set as well.
Yeah, kind
you
of,
know?
yeah.
It had this sort of theme
Yeah.
running through. And then again, using this more thin one and bringing this in and how...
So Gilson is curious about your experience at Boiler Room.
Oh.
How did you design for the underground scenario so well and fast?
Okay, so this is maybe why I'm such a fast designer, to be honest. Because Boiler Room, for those that don't know, is a music platform. I was the senior designer there for just over a year, so it was just me and one other guy who was the art director, and we used to design for the entire world. So Boiler Room had offices in Berlin, LA, London. I think we had a base in South Africa or something.
Oh wow! Fun.
There was loads, Poland. So there was a lot.
Yeah.
We'd do shows in Korea, Hong Kong, everything. And so we'd be working on loads of different time scales, all the time.
So you never
And,
slept.
I mean,
Kind of. So like a couple
yeah,
hours.
yeah, but so we just had to design super fast, and sometimes someone would come up to me and be like, "I need a flyer in 30 minutes," and you just have
You're
to.
like, I got this.
Yeah, you just honestly, you would though. Like you'd literally just have to first instinct sort of design on whatever you were thinking, and it was really cool. It was I still do a lot. My Instagram's probably better because I don't always put a lot of my poster work actually on my Behance because I am...
It's iterative.
Yeah, I think that as well. People come to Behance more for... Is it Behance or Behance? You know,
I
say
always say Behance.
Yeah.
I
thought it was. Is
I
it?
think
Does
everyone
anyone
says it
know?
different. You know, Behance, Behance, Behance.
Behance.
Tomato.
Yeah. But so yeah, that's where I put all my music stuff. But Boiler Room, I design very much on feeling. So I think, I start with something and I start to build it out and I'll start to play with it and I'll start to explore it a little bit more. And I think that is very much just on feeling, development, exploration, and just having a bit of fun. And with Boiler Room, sometimes it would be like a techno gig, sometimes it would be like an orchestra that we were recording. It was super interesting. So it kind of pushed you to really think about stuff. But my experience there was fun, fast in terms of output, and stressful. So.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes working under pressure and stress is the best outcome.
Yeah,
I feel like if I have
really
too much
do
time,
think so though. Yeah.
Do you find that when you have a really long deadline that you wait until the end, or do you get it done early?
I usually, if I have a really big deadline on something, it's usually in those points where I will then kind of go in and look at something for a little while, then I'll put it away for a little while, and then I'll look at it again in a week's time or something, and I'll try and kind of explore it a little bit more. And what's nice about those deadlines is that it allows you to look at something and take a break and then come back and look at it again.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're doing things super rushed, for instance, so I feel like here we're now starting to get into something that's feeling quite interesting, and as it's progressing, let's see where we can push this. And I'm going to explore a wee bit more of these forms, but I think as you start to push something and explore it a little bit more interesting things come out. And I think with a deadline that's really short, you don't have that time to explore.
No, you just have to think of the one answer.
Exactly. Yeah. And sometimes that's cool and it works out really well.
Yeah, sometimes the one answer's wrong.
Yeah, and sometimes it's wrong. Yeah.
Sometimes when it does look wrong, it is wrong.
Yeah. No, sometimes it doesn't work. But
totally.
Yeah, but then sometimes it does, and it looks really cool.
And sometimes you're like, well, if it was the 30 minutes that I had to do it, then it's the only answer.
Exactly. Yeah, this is what you're getting.
Yeah, this is all there is.
Exactly. So I think this is starting to look quite fun. There's interesting, I'm aware that I'm in CMYK and I'm using RGB colors, so it keeps, but I've now used this.
It's tweaking a little bit, it's self-correcting.
Yeah, it keeps popping up with it.
You're like, yes,
telling me
yes,
off,
I know.
but I'm just ignoring it for now. So I think this is super cool. I think this is like, you know, we're starting to like look at shapes.
It feels very playful.
Very playful, yeah.
I see the letter forms, or at least the components of a letter form, but there's no letters there.
No.
Which I really like.
It's quite cool. I'm going to pull in my scan. I'm going to overlay this a bit and let's see how it starts to feel. I like this as well because it really changes sometimes the feeling of the colors. And that I think is quite nice because it's a bit unexpected.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you do it and you know, you kind of play with this, like overlay or whatever, the colors start to change, and I quite like that. I think it feels quite nice.
I do too.
Do you?
So when you're printing these, do you ever have issues with the overlay in printing it, or does it usually come out as seen?
No, it's usually fine. It is usually fine. If anything, like things are usually a bit darker in print, but you can change stuff like that. I think I work a lot with print, and usually the stock that you use. So if you use a cream stock or a white stock, that makes a big difference to the way in which the ink comes out on it.
Right.
And it creates quite a difference. So I think that, sometimes I also like to kind of go in and like push this over, and then I'll like duplicate it.
Double it up, yeah.
Just on, and then kind of pull it over. So we get these really interesting like tension lines of where it's crossing, and it feels a bit irregular.
Yeah.
And I think that's...
It's like it got stuck in a press kind of in a weird way. So Gilson has a great question. He says, do you use non-digital tools in your creative process, like papers, ink, and brushes?
Yes, yeah. So I went to art school. Like that's where like I began, was like in an art school, and we did a year foundation where you would explore everything. So I used to do marbling, like ink marbling, and do that with paper, and then pull it out and scan it into the computer and go into the marbling and take like elements and shapes and draw around those in Illustrator.
Very cool.
So it was super cool. And then I think a lot of the like posters and stuff I try and scan them in to give them a bit more of a texture, and then like bring them into Illustrator and export them and like do interesting things with them. So yeah, I like adding an element of craft. The reason that I use like overlays, especially like days like today, is because we're here and we don't have all those tools. I think if you can get paper and you can cut out and create these shapes, it creates something so much more interesting. It's way more fun. It's way more gratifying as well, because you kind of start from like with paper and scissors, and you can create something super interesting. So
completely.
I think it's.
So have you used Adobe Capture, the app?
No.
Oh, wow.
Tell me about this. What is it?
I remember when I learned about Adobe Capture, and Michael Shays blew my mind.
What is it?
It's an app that you can download, and it works with Creative Cloud. And what it is you can take a photo of anything and vectorize it, and immediately it'll go into your library. But you can also take photos of textures, and those types of textures can then come in, and you can drag in the amount of kind of, see, look, we could even do a bit of texturing right here, so you can see the texture of, I'll just freeze this so everyone can then see it. So that's the texture of this right here.
Oh my goodness.
So then, if you guys can see this on the
this
phone.
is amazing. And then
yeah,
you pull
so
it in.
this is the texture. Yes. Hold
I'm
on.
gonna plug it in, guys,
Oh,
so that you
perfect.
can see. This would be like, so I think for me,
Yes.
that's
so
amazing.
it's pretty cool because
I'm just going in here and kind of making sure that every poster is
so the
playing
texture here, if you're in Adobe Cloud, let me go back out and show you guys. So you go into Cloud, you can go into Shapes, and if I wanted to, I can get the texture of this tablecloth and dial it up so that it's really
That's
crazy, and then
amazing.
dial it even down. And what we can do is we can tap and freeze it, and then I can dial it up and down, so I don't even need to be looking at it anymore. I can just do it from here.
Wow.
Once I get it to where I want it, I say okay, and then I can say smooth or crop and then just save. and it goes directly into the library.
That is so cool.
I know.
And then you can use that.
A little behind the scenes. Everybody always likes that. Oh, hi.
Hey, guys.
Hey, guys. All right, I think we're done there.
So that's amazing.
Yeah,
I
there's
love
a
that.
lot of really interesting ways that you can use it. I think the ideas with Capture are pretty endless. You can do patterns. You can even capture color palettes and then import them directly. So if I wanted to, I could capture the color
so
palette that you're
cool.
wearing. Like your
Yeah.
skin, your hair, your shirt, your pants, everything. It's going to change the way you work, trust me.
This will honestly change the way I
it
work.
changed the
though.
way I worked.
Yeah.
I mean, I was using it today just so that I could copy some handwriting that I did and import it. And oh man, get excited. I kind of got goosebumps.
Did you?
I was like, ooh, it's going to be so great for you.
Oh my goodness.
It'll
I
speed
love
it up even more. So next time we see Caterina, she's going to be twice as fast, which is going to be insane.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Please, the pressure.
Yeah, you can get rid of all your scanning equipment. This is insane.
Okay, so I'm going to try and do something maybe more with the full quote, I think, because I've not really used it. I've managed to delete the actual.
Ooh, I like the colors that you ended up with on that last poster.
Yeah, so
It's
I
really
think
lovely.
I'm just trying to make sure that we've got like an equal representation of color, and then just exploring all these different themes. But I think what feels quite nice about, especially I think this exercise, is I want them to kind of feel like they can work with one another. And if they were up as like a series,
Yeah.
they'd all sit well together, which is why this poor little poster is down
Well,
here.
also I noticed that you differentiated the G poster a little bit more too, which is
Yes,
really
and
nice because now they feel
feel-
like they're on their own.
Yes, exactly.
But like you said, a family.
Yeah, and I think I actually think that works a little bit better.
Yeah, it's great.
So I like these little shapes. I use these a lot in with the work that I do, and I think that works quite well with Paul Klee's sort of style, with these sort of like, he uses these big shapes and interesting sort of like colors and stuff. So I think maybe I'll take color palettes from this, but I'll play with these sort of big shapes. And what I usually use is this one. I actually don't even know what this tool's called, guys. I'm not gonna lie.
Pen tool?
Yeah, but it's like the curved one, so it like does
The Bezier?
Okay, there we go. Not so professional.
It's the Bezier pen tool.
Okay, and then maybe just, start to pull in. Like
Cool.
the yellows he uses are amazing, and like considering that this was paint.
Yeah.
It's so neon.
It's really bright.
It's amazing. And then let's just.
I'm curious how you did that now that you mentioned it. I'm like, wait a second.
The
The yellow,
yeah.
yeah. I'm wondering what ink.
How I don't know. Does anyone know?
Yeah,
In the
chat.
chat.
Do you guys know what kind of components he was putting together in his studio? Not that it matters, but
It would be cool to find out though. So I think here, I love this because you
yeah.
really can go in, you can be so expressive with these shapes. Like you can kind of do whatever you want. You can even delete sometimes. So like if I just delete that, it pulls it out and it creates. And then let's
These are
maybe
really
go
fun.
and go in and get that red. I'm just kind of playing with the colors a little bit to just feel a little bit more.
Hi, Paul. Hi, Hector. Welcome. Yeah, you've got about 15 more minutes, everyone, for the challenge.
Ooh.
Download those fonts, make a quick logo, and enter it to win Creative Cloud.
I'm really excited, guys.
I am too. There's a lot of logos in there. This is exciting. It's
Is
going to
there?
be just as hard as yesterday.
Is there more than yesterday?
I don't know. There might be. I'm just browsing through right now. There's quite a bit.
Oh.
I think there's not yet more than yesterday, but I feel like in 5 minutes, there's going to be more.
Okay.
It's always down to the wire,
Yeah.
Yeah.
People are.
We're giving them a tight deadline, kind of like Boiler Room.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
You're like,
But that I have to
"Alright."
say is my favorite type of work. Is like
Me too.
music, sort of stuff, and like working against like a really fast
Oh,
deadline.
I like tight deadlines. Maybe
Yeah.
not music, but I like food.
Yeah.
Like working on food under a tight deadline. That's exciting.
Oh, like what? Like food brands or
Yeah,
something?
or like, a restaurant. Yeah, packaging.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I love stuff like that. So I'm just playing here. I'm just trying to figure out like
They're so cute.
what I think feels a bit better. I feel like this orange is lovely. Let's try and get a bit more of this in here. We've already got some interesting sort of things happening, I think.
Yeah.
And this is a bit more expressive in
It's
comparison.
nice, it's got that burnt feel to it.
Yeah. So let's go in and maybe just make a wee bit of a more interest.
Frederick is asking, what is the easiest way to add a texture to a color?
Oh, what do you mean?
Just by overlaying, right?
I think, well, I always just overlay. You could maybe mask it. A texture to a color, like, does he mean like
Frederick,
dots or something?
let us know if you have a more specific way that you're looking for that answer.
Yeah.
But otherwise, Caterina's been using an overlay, which is in your transparencies.
Yeah.
And you could use all sorts of things in that palette.
I'm just retyping out this quote because I'm going to try and use it on this one. This is something typographers never do. Hyphens. I hate it. People will know this though. That's like the first rule you learn in type. I think we'll maybe go back in and pull this back in again.
Nice.
Because I had it wide. I'm going to pull it back in. And then with this, I don't know, it might be quite interesting on this one if we, I don't know, do we make it really small and sit in the middle? In contrast to the big typography that we've been using.
That could be fun. It's going to be so different than the rest of them.
Yeah.
And you have those large shapes to play with, so.
This is what I'm thinking. So we'll just pull this down so I've always got sort of editable.
Hello from Barcelona. Barcelona. Hello, Carlos.
Actually, right. Just trying to think if I want to format this like this. Oh. I made a mistake. This is the only thing. Okay. So let's try it. We'll try it.
You're like, let's just give it a shot.
Let's just
Why
give
not?
it a shot and see what happens.
We're experimenting. This
Yeah,
is
we're
fun.
designing.
I mean, it's Wednesday. Wednesday's the fun day.
We're designing as we go, guys.
Although I feel like every day in the week, the further you get, the more fun it becomes.
Yeah, I mean, I think most
Right?
people would
I think they agree, right?
would definitely agree. Yeah, I feel like there's something just not right with this.
Oh, well, if it looks wrong, it's probably right.
Yeah, you're really.
It's just not going to get old here. I mean, you did pull this quote. I blame you.
It is. It's totally my fault.
It's your fault, yeah.
But you know, this one, I suppose there's some interesting little elements like coming into play with like balance. I don't know. Let's just see. I'm trying to work it out a wee bit. I'm trying to think, how can I make this feel a little bit, I don't know, do we want it to be maybe just a more basic color? Oh, I keep eye dropping the texture.
Yeah. You're like, oh, why is it going away?
I know what's going
Oh,
on.
that was kind of interesting.
Oh, okay, you can't read it. Let's try.
Like it should be at least legible.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I mean, if you want.
I mean, I think that's what we have to at least
Yeah.
go for. Let me try it in maybe one of the oranges that he uses could be interesting. Something from here. That's pretty vibrant, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of.
No, that's right. He has those too. Nice.
And maybe it's just something that sits a little bit more central. I feel like there's something still. I don't know. I just feel like there's something.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah. You know, but sometimes this is the way design
Yeah, it's a
goes.
feeling.
Like
It's
it is.
true.
It's just like you have to just kind of play about with stuff for a wee while
Yeah.
and figure out and decide what you think is working and not working. I just don't want it to feel too, I suppose, different from the rest. So I'm being a bit cautious and. Okay, I feel like we're getting somewhere now.
You're like, I added purple. This is good.
Yeah.
I just needed some
Something
purple.
going on, yeah. So this is a bit more.
10 minutes to submit your logos. Get them in there. Oh, there's a lot of good submissions already. Oh, man. Eee.
I'm really looking
This is exciting.
forward. Okay.
Ooh, so many.
Okay, so what I want to just see is, I wonder if, just thinking if there's something more interesting we can do with the typography, but then I'm thinking maybe actually just having one where it just sits in the middle and it looks, it's just there and it's formed.
Kind of like oversized quotations.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
I don't know, let's see. Maybe I just feel like at the moment I'm just trying to figure out my space. So there's little bits to me that are feeling like I need to kind of put a wee something in them. I feel like we need another little blob, so we're going to draw one up. And I feel like something up here could be quite nice. It creates more of like a dynamic up here. Yeah, I feel like to me this is starting to look a little nicer.
It's pretty fun.
And then I wonder, maybe in this one we can introduce these sort of little motion lines again, because I think
connect it to the G. That would be nice.
Yeah, connect it a wee bit, and you can even just go in, and it starts to give stuff a wee bit more of a dimension. So that's super simple, really, to do. I feel like it needs to be more.
Hi, Caroline. Welcome. Glad to have you. Oh yeah, that's definitely.
It's making
helping.
a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, it's pulling it off the page
Yeah.
a wee bit, and sometimes you don't need to.
It's kind of forcing your eye to follow a flow.
Exactly, yeah. I think it maybe I will keep it on these two, and let's just see. And then I think I was maybe gonna try and go in and maybe play with this a wee bit, add some dots. Just adding like these sort of textural layers, creating a little bit more of like an interesting sort of aesthetic to it. I think on the next one we can maybe be a bit more, I don't know, maybe try squishing stuff or whatever, but let's see. And then we're just adding some texture. So
Cool. This is looking good.
getting a bit more,
It's interesting.
yeah, I think there's some cool stuff going on.
Yeah.
Just
Especially
gonna
with the
scale.
textures. Adding the textures, I mean,
It makes
It
a big
really
difference.
just does,
Yeah,
yeah.
it really does. It makes a really big difference. I think it.
quite a few people in the chat that are like, I'm gonna use textures now too.
Yeah,
This
I
is
think
good.
you have to be a bit careful in like the way that you, sometimes in the way that you use them. I just brought that type forward a little bit because I felt like it was maybe getting a wee bit lost
Yeah.
in the back there. For this one, maybe, yeah, I'll do a wee bit more of this like staggering, just so it doesn't feel
Cool.
too,
Yeah, then you're creating some cut up shapes
it's
within them.
a bit
That's
more
nice.
interesting, yeah. Okay, so that's maybe exploring if the type's a little smaller and it sits in the middle,
Cool.
how it might look. I think it looks better in pink. What does everyone think?
Yeah.
I think that feels a bit more like a flow.
Yeah.
So I
agree.
think now these are starting to look really nice as a
Yeah,
set.
you're getting there.
We're
I
getting,
mean, that's a lot of posters already.
I know.
This is amazing.
My like high speed, but I think
Yeah.
sometimes,
I mean, technically you have one more, but we aren't allowed to talk about that one.
well,
The other one.
oh yeah, I do, but I don't want to talk about that one, guys.
You're like, but we can't talk about that
I'm
one.
not interested in it. I think that this is interesting, and I kind of want to explore blowing these lovely shapes up and
Yeah.
exploring them a wee bit more, and this idea of adding. Maybe there's something in adding. Maybe we could start to play a bit
shape
with
with a
outlines
letter.
or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think looking at some of these characters, let's see what's quite an interesting one to play with. There's some lovely little shapes in the arm.
Oh yeah, we can always open up the glyphs palette too.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting.
Yeah. Thanks,
So
Frank.
I always forget. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
So, we
look at all
now-
those
oh.
glyphs.
We now have some interest. Do you know what's always so weird about the glyph palette though? I wish you could zoom into it.
I know. I want to see them bigger
Can you?
too. I think in right here you can pull that down. Oh no. Nope.
Got rid of it.
Whoops.
Oh, where is it now? Glyphs.
It might just be the way that it is.
Maybe
Oh.
it's just me. What? Oh,
Two mountains.
Oh,
Big
yeah.
mountain.
Okay. Zoom in.
Big mountain. There we
There
go.
we go. Guys, I'm learning Illustrator as we go.
Thanks, guys.
Apparently.
Well,
Okay.
there's so many tricks and so many ways to do
I mean,
similar things.
yeah,
I mean, it's limitless.
I think what you need to be good at is the ideas.
Exactly. Every day I learn something new about the program, even when I think I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that. And then I'm like, wait, how did you do it? That's so interesting.
Oh no, I learn every day, and I mean, I've
Yeah.
been doing this for nearly 9 years. So, I mean, you
Totally.
you are learning all the time.
Yeah, and everybody does it differently. So the more time you spend with other designers, you see their version of what's, the way that they work.
Yeah, and it's actually quite interesting sometimes because you do learn things, or
You
you
do.
even I think even little things like adding texture, for instance. I'm
Yeah.
sure like most people.
I learned diagonal grid lines today, which was awesome.
Ooh. I love these. Look how beautiful
so
these are.
cool,
And do you know
yeah.
what's so interesting about it is the way that the dots are interacting.
Oh, that's
Especially
great.
here. This feels lovely to me. And here, this
Yeah.
feels really good to me as well.
So good. You guys have about 3 minutes to submit those logos, and then we're gonna take a peek.
Oh, I'm really excited.
That means you have 3 minutes for a poster.
Oh God. Do you think I can do it?
Deadlines, boiler room, boom.
Oh my goodness. Should I do it? Should
Yeah,
I try
let's
and
do it. Yeah, why not?
Oh, God.
Of course you should
No,
do
I'm
it.
stressed now.
You're like, I'm too stressed, I'm too stressed.
Can't do this now.
Don't worry, we can always come back to it.
I've lost all my
Yeah.
creative. Okay, well then I'll maybe try it with this A and this C.
Yeah.
So I'm going to outline them. I'm going to blow them
Awesome.
up.
You're like, glyphs, get out of here.
You move out my way.
You're like, I'm busy, glyphs.
Okay, let's see what we can do. I think these
Yes,
are lovely.
Caroline, the challenge is same as yesterday. Design a logo.
But you've only got, what, 3 minutes?
Yeah, 3 minutes.
I mean, if you can
But
do
Caroline,
that.
don't worry. If you can't design a logo in 3 minutes, which we definitely would be very impressed if you did, then you can do it for a later session. And we're also going to be doing it again tomorrow, so it will keep going.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah,
So I
there's
have
always
loads.
opportunities to win.
Okay, so this I'm going to work with testing different,
That is cool.
like,
With the stencil, it kind of
hues.
feels like army in a way, but then there's those playful dots that you're like, that can't be army at all.
No, I think that with this, what's so lovely about it is it is really delicate.
Uh-huh.
Like it is super delicate. There's these lovely little forms, you know, in here that start to kind of, I don't know, come play. I feel like I want to create more of a contrast here, so I'm going to go back in and look at maybe,
Very cool.
I don't know, orange. I don't know. Pressure.
You're like, the pressure's on.
Imagine.
Yes, Mel Wolverson says it's like a kindergarten army because it's playful yet strict. I like that. That's kind of like German, you know, like very much. Kindergarten is a German word.
Oh yeah, that's true. I wonder how we started to use it.
I don't know.
Okay, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to start building in some blocks
Oh yeah.
to play with these.
Man, you're on fire.
These forms. I mean, I really don't know how good this is going to look.
This is great.
Oh God.
Oh, I'm already loving it.
Let's just go in and see.
Oh, Trisha, welcome. The first live you've ever seen? Well, welcome. You found your place. We're here for you. Literally, we're here for you.
And then I think what could be quite interesting with this is to actually go in and explore these shapes.
Yeah.
Build them up a wee bit, and let's see what we get. Are we getting close?
We're there.
Oh,
it's
wait.
6:30.
Guys, I didn't manage
I
to do
know. I think you kind of did it though. Like, I mean, we're
No,
nearly there. I know
feel-
it's not finished, but we're
Yeah,
nearly there.
feel like I
We
want
can
to
come back to it if we get through all the logos.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's.
So we're gonna
just-
put it on hold.
This big one is nice. Let's just put that there.
And we know that she's not working on it, so that means that she's still under this really tight timeline. All right, so let me give one refresh before we hop on my screen.
Ooh.
All right.
Some of these look super interesting already.
Oh yeah. Let's see. All right, we'll start from the very beginning. I think this was the first entry, so Massimiliano Bonavia.
He's Italian.
All right, so Berlin 92.
So this is interesting. I really like that it feels that there's like this drop shadow sort of feeling to it. It almost feels like it's embossed.
Yeah.
And it's really Bauhaus. I think that the sort of the feeling of it is very Bauhaus. But to me, this feels more like a poster than a logo.
I agree, yeah.
Maybe just because of the format of it.
Cool
that
poster though.
Yeah, really
Yeah.
cool. I like this idea as well of the balance. I think that there's interesting shape workings at the bottom. Like it's almost like the line that evolves into a circle that evolves into a semicircle. And I like that progression.
All right, so let's zoom in here a little bit.
Wait, this is, I think we got one from the same person yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Did she do space that we
Maybe.
really liked?
Magdalene El Helou.
I feel like it maybe was.
Maybe, it's kind of space-like.
Yeah, and this is interesting,
Yeah.
putting the G inside the G on that last one.
Yeah.
I really like that. I think it's super playful.
It's really funny, especially
I
the
would never
lowercase.
think
It's
to do
nice.
it.
No.
Yeah.
It's tiny.
Really cool exploration there.
Yeah.
I wonder what it's for.
I don't know.
GGG? Is she on the...
Very fun.
Yeah.
All right, Bruno De Paula. Oh, there's 3 here. Oh,
Oh, I see,
nope,
it's
there's
the
just 2.
workings.
Nice, so it's progress.
So this is really cool.
Oh, this was from our video in the
actual-
very beginning.
This is really nice. I really
Very
love
cool.
it. I like that with this, there is an element of the development. So you kind of see what he was looking at, what he referenced, and how that then became an actual
Yeah, it's
thing.
great to see the progress. I think this is kind of what you were asking for
Yes.
in the beginning.
Yeah, yeah.
You're like, what if you could show us what it is?
Yeah, I think it's super cool. I think
Nice.
I really like this. I could see this as a stamp. It almost actually feels like a vinyl label.
It does, yeah.
You know,
It's
like
cool.
music related. It's cool.
Nice job, Bruno.
Techno.
Andrea Martinez.
Ooh, this is interesting. So again, this is super Bauhaus and
Yeah.
in the sort of exploration of these sort of like letter forms. I love this font. So this is one that I've not got. I don't think.
No, I don't think this is using one of the 2
Yes, I
that
think
we're with.
that
yeah.
we're working with 2 on
Yep.
these streams. But I love this. I love the feeling in the letter forms, that it's like
Yeah.
a semicircle, that it's got this curvature, and then I like that this is repeated in the shapes that are above and below it.
Yeah, it feels like it could be rotated too.
Yeah,
like,
it does. But this to me feels a bit like a poster again. I
Exactly.
would say. But it's cool.
Oliver Zandi. Oh.
Ooh, this is lovely. This is really cool.
Really like this.
I
yeah.
really like this.
Very nice. I also like the extruded K. That's
Yes.
great.
I really like this. I like that the form is going on top of the other form and you're getting this interesting, it's almost like what I do with the textures.
Yeah, exactly.
Using
It's like
the
a relationship that they're
transparencies.
having.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
it's
this
great.
is really lovely.
And also the connection between like right
all of them,
here.
all of them.
Yeah.
What does it say?
I'm
though?
not sure what it says, so that's also tricky, but
2UR?
2UIRI.
Zwar.
Oliver, if you're out there and you're watching,
What does it
you'll have to
mean?
type in and tell us what it means.
I love the the circles. How it's
Yeah.
kind of going up.
Little bit of a
it creates
ladder.
an interesting balance.
Cool. All right. Mark Walter.
this is nice.
Mies van der Rohe.
This is nice. I
Yeah.
like how delicate this feels.
It's very
It
different from
actually-
anything we've seen.
Yeah, it feels to me like a bakery. I don't know
interesting.
what it is. Mies van der.
Or
what
like
does this mean?
an orchestra.
Yeah, but
like
it-
someone conducting.
Yeah, it has this very soft
Yeah.
and elegant feel to it, and I think that's quite nice. It has a very luxurious feel.
It
And I
does.
think in comparison to the others, it creates
It
an
works as a
interesting
logo for
contrast.
sure.
For sure, yeah.
All right. Oh,
Oh, this is
I
cool.
think, yeah.
Oh, so there
David
is something
Yateman.
in the middle.
Yeah, it's a backwards B and a forwards B. I think it's really dark to see on the screen, but
Maybe the RGB.
yeah, it might have been put in as a PNG and that would distract from the background, but we do see it on our end. So David, good work.
Yeah, it's really cool, guys.
Let's see. Oh,
Oh,
interesting.
this is super.
Yeah.
So this is almost like the typographic poster that we referenced yesterday.
Totally, yeah.
With Erik.
Yep. Very similar color palette and the angularity.
Yeah, so this to me is really interesting. I think there's some lovely play with color and typography. Yeah, I just would love to know. Oh, it's a furniture warehouse. And
yes.
it's Eames. Okay, so
Eames
this now makes a
Furniture
lot
Warehouse.
of sense.
Yeah.
You know, the reason that it's like this and
Yeah.
it's in with these forms.
Still
It's
feels
cool.
poster-like.
Yeah, it still feels a bit poster-like, yeah.
Cool.
Oh, ooh, this is interesting.
Oh, you're connecting the H and the A.
That's cool.
And then
so this is kind of understanding patterns,
Yeah.
which is basically a designer's job. Is
Yes.
we have to understand.
I'm like,
patterns.
we're looking at it longer. We're like,
Yeah.
right?
I think that this is interesting. I feel like the gradient is maybe a bit too harsh.
Yeah.
But
Might
if
be
it maybe
difficult to reproduce.
yeah, if it flowed through the whole word, I think that would then create some interesting dynamic. I think that there would be something interesting going on there.
Cool. Alexander Bequet.
Oh, so we've got an
Depuis
extended E.
Metal Leary. 1977.
This is really cool. I like that we've started to use some shapes, and the logo sits within a shape, and that I think it would be interesting to see other colorways with this that
Yeah.
would maybe make it a bit more. I don't know, pop out a wee bit.
Yeah, I agree.
But
I
I
like the E.
Yeah, I really like the E. I could see this though being used on like a wine or something. You know?
Yeah, totally.
It feels like
It's
almost
like
like a
it's like an
stamp
emblem,
or
yeah.
like the top of a
Or like one
cork.
of those things where they deboss it, like they
Yeah.
have like a notary.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah. It's interesting.
McKinley Smith.
Oh, I really like this one.
Oh,
I
cool.
love
Oh, it's like an
this.
anvil. Smith
This is,
anvil.
So this is, I think this is super interesting.
It's really cool.
Really cool.
Yeah.
I love how graphic it is.
I like the
think
color
it
palette, too.
feels really well formed and finished, and
Yeah.
it looks like a logo to me.
Totally.
I really like this. I love.
And I think she's using the type to create this anvil down
Yes.
here. Well, it looks like an anvil. I'm really not sure.
Maybe it's an accountancy business, so this is a
Oh.
scale.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm guessing.
totally. Or maybe it's one of those scanners where your body goes in the thing and it comes out. This is the scanning part,
Yeah, I
so
mean,
your
it
body
could
lays
be.
on a tray.
I love that that's the first thing you go for.
I know. I'm like, oh, it's a brain scanner.
Yeah.
Oh, McKinley's on. McKinley, is it
Oh.
an anvil? Is it a brain? Is it a CAT scanner? Or is it's an anvil?
Is it
Yes. Anvil for the win.
Well done. That's really cool.
I'm guessing no CAT scan. All right.
Super cool.
Claire Cross.
Ooh,
Oh,
this is interesting.
17 words. And
What is
she
this?
did,
Did
or
we have-
17 swords.
Did we not have this yesterday?
We
17?
did, but
What is
it's
it?
different. I'm not sure. I thought it was a movie, or at least that's what Erik had mentioned. And I was like, I think it is a Japanese film, right? Like the 17 swords.
Okay.
You like how I did the sword
hold on.
movement with it? I'm like, it's sword.
I feel like I get what they're. So this is maybe like some sort of Japanese man, and that's his beard. Look.
Oh.
Do you see that form at
Oh.
the top?
Yeah, I
Does that
kind of
make
do.
sense?
Yeah, then
Or is it a horse?
maybe it's a horse,
Ah,
and
it's a
that's
horse.
why. Oh, yeah.
This is what it is. Is
This
this
is-
person online? Who is this?
Claire Cross.
No.
It's very cool.
Yeah,
It's funky. I feel it's like a poster.
it's a horse.
It's a horse.
I think it's definitely
it's a horse poster.
Also looks like a wasp.
Yeah.
You know,
So many figures.
which are evil. Wasps are evil.
They are. Matt Kuistra.
So this is very sort of Swiss. We're very much in
Yes.
that sort of Erik color palette.
Completely.
You'll kill me.
And it
laughing.
feels more of like architectural.
It feels very architectural. It feels a
Yes.
little bit more corporate.
Studious, for
Yes,
sure.
But I think what's quite interesting about this is the use of color to highlight certain elements of the logo. And I think that that's a really interesting thing to do and be able to understand like how to do as well. So I think by introducing this like red, we highlight this last word at the end.
Yeah, I agree what you're saying there, because the art school is like, this is physically the place.
Yes,
So
and
it's
that
connecting.
it creates that connection. I think that's pretty clever.
Yeah, it's nice.
I think that works really well.
Nicely done, Matt. Thomas Botcher.
I love this.
I love this too.
I think this is amazing.
This is great.
But this is going to be hard.
We love this, Thomas. You've won. No, I'm kidding. Not yet. Not yet.
I love the way that he's taken these shapes and used them to create something that feels really solid in terms of like an identity. You could see this embossed.
Oh yeah, this is the logo for sure.
Yeah, and I think over time, when you get famous Tom Cooper design.
Yeah, Tom, when you're famous, we'll remember when.
Get rid of Tom Cooper design and you just own the TCD. Because that's what I see in this. It's like the amazing, really heavy sort of stamp-like feel to this. It's beautiful.
Endorsed by Caterina.
Yeah.
All right, Miguel Leica.
Bauhaus. So this is very typical.
I like it.
Bauhaus, yeah, this is cool. I think this is interesting.
It reminds me of if Bauhaus had a hockey team.
Really?
Right?
It reminds me of like a Bauhaus jazz club.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm feeling.
Yeah, totally. Like the note.
Yeah.
I'm from the Midwest in America, so you know, like hockey's a thing there. I just see like a hockey puck.
I see this. Yes.
Yeah, right. It's like the Bauhaus version of sports.
I also did hockey at school. That was the one.
It's kind of funny,
thing
right?
I had to do. I was center attack. What did you play?
Oh, I didn't play at all.
Oh, you didn't.
I mean, like I just skated around in skates.
Oh no! See, our hockey's like on a grass field. It's not skates.
No.
Oh, you're talking about
ice hockey.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm from the cold.
I mean, I'm from Scotland, so.
Angela Trenton.
Oh, this is
Eros.
so cool.
Oh, and I like that there's all sorts of explanation. This is
love
great.
the
Eros is
colors.
an online flower shop. The name is inspired by the Paul Klee's work called Eros 1923.
Amazing.
In the Greek mythology, Eros is the god of love, son of Aphrodite.
I see. This is
Beautiful.
So I think this, if anything, if I was to.
Oh,
wow.
and it even has a photo of someone using flowers.
I love this.
This is great.
I love the colors.
Great presentation.
A really lovely presentation.
Yeah. Oh, and then these are the business cards, so they cut the E and the S off.
Oh, is that right?
It's what she's written down here, business cards.
Or maybe they go
Oh,
over.
yeah, they go over. You're right. Yep. There's a white bar. That's still lovely.
I would get rid of the white bar.
I would too. I'd just crop them. Cut them.
Yeah, cut them.
Yeah, cut
or
them.
even have them like as like a sort of cutout, you know, to create that sort of, and that would actually represent the stencil of the font really well.
Good job, Angela. So I think we have quite a few left, but we can
Oh, do
always
we?
review these in the next round if we don't get through them all.
Okay.
Judith Gillet, Bauhaus. Very Bauhaus.
This is very Bauhaus, but I like the play of balance. I like how the B is on top of and underneath that line. I think that's super interesting.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that I always try to play with in posters, is this idea of perspective and things almost like feeling like they're going through or between something.
Is it playing tricks on your eyes?
A wee bit, yeah.
It feels like it's bending in.
Yeah, it's
Like
interesting.
the box is kind of curving. I really love that.
Yeah. I think I would love to see this in really contrasting
Yeah.
colors. I think that would work really well.
Completely. Nice job, Judith. Marco Relic. Oh, yet again. Oh, new one and old one. New one. Oh, that was from yesterday. We saw that. Yeah, we thought that was the Bauhaus Japanese restaurant.
This is cool. Wow.
Very cool.
Will you see what One More Day does? Mm-hmm. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Why does it look green? It's like...
It's a bit of vibration, or is there an outline?
No, but look on the
I like how we both got real close.
It's red.
It's red, yeah, it's red.
But is it coming up as
Oh,
red?
it's green there.
It goes crazy.
Got it, yeah.
Oh. So this is...
It's very nice.
I really like this. I think this is super interesting. I think it's lovely to see how this has developed over the course of the day.
Yeah, it's nice to see his progress. Annelle Henning.
Oh, love this.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, love this.
LS.
I love the colors. I think, do you know what's interesting about this? It's kind of more Paul Klee colors. It's more in reference to what we've been doing today than those really strict Bauhaus feeling colors.
Yeah.
So to me, this...
It feels
this
great.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's got a nice sort of dynamic to it.
Nice job, Annelle.
Very well balanced.
Oh, texture. Here we
like
go.
it.
Lassen jam. I feel like Lassen thinks that maybe we like pill shapes from yesterday.
Oh, really?
I'm kidding, because we chose the Handmaid's Tale and it was in a very similar pill shape.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
This is beautiful.
I really like this. I
Yeah.
think this, to me, feels like a high-end hotel. sort of like beer mat, an interesting sort of like oval beer mat or something. Super cool.
I could see it on like a coaster.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like a coaster, kind of like in a nice textural way.
It's lovely. I really like
Cool.
the texture element as well.
Nice color palette. Oh, another one by Anel.
Oh, cool. Interesting. I like it.
Yeah. Good colors again.
Yeah, really good colors.
Akash Mitra.
Ooh, Wayne
Wayne Industries. Oh, it's like
Hip hop?
no, that's Batman.
Oh, oh my
I'm
God.
like, you know, Batman.
I love
You're
how
like,
I went for Little Wayne.
Little Wayne. I'm like, yeah, Batman is cool. Well, there we are. There we are, folks, and that's the difference.
I mean, I was like,
I love it.
wow,
You're like,
that's
yeah, like
sick.
Little Wayne. I'm like, yeah, maybe not.
Cool.
Cool.
And I like this, how we've created the W just by reversing one of the shapes. I think that works really well.
Totally. Nice job.
Really cool.
Sal Lippman, the
Ooh.
Bauhaus.
Sal Lippman? That feels like
Yeah.
a famous name.
Yeah. Sal, you have a very famous name. We
Name,
love
yeah.
it. Yeah. Sal Lippman.
I feel like it's a,
Like a litigator.
Yeah.
Or a designer, like Saul Bass.
Yes.
Sal Lippman.
Yeah, it's interesting. But
Love it.
This is interesting. I like the play on colors. It would be cool to see if this was stacked, like with the bow
a little
over
bit
the
more.
yeah, and pulling it in and making it more of like a rigid sort
Yeah.
of shape. I
Play
think
with
that
it a
would be
little more
cool.
than just typesetting. Another one by Anel. Nice
Oh.
job, Anel.
So these are really, it's more exploration
Yeah,
of
it's
color,
more
I
like
think.
color
than-
palette, you're right.
Which is interesting. Yeah, I think this is nice. I think it's a good.
Oh,
Oh,
Mehul Anand.
is it scrolly?
Yeah. Oh, again,
Ah,
progress.
that's
So floor
clever.
plan, colors, and the Bauhaus.
That's I see. I feel like today people are being way more conceptual.
Yeah.
Which for me is the way brand identity should be created. It should
Completely.
be something that feels a lot more conceptual.
Love this. This
I
is
really
great.
like this. I like the idea behind it.
Yeah, great idea. Good job, Mehul. Dominic Timonello. Oh, phonotype.
This is cool.
Phonotype Fundiorni.
Huh?
I don't know what that last word is.
Foundry.
Oh, I'm reading it down.
It's a okay, a type
Foundry.
foundry.
Got it.
This is cool. Okay.
I like the mark.
I like the mark. The
Yeah.
other thing I don't like about the mark is the color way. But just because
Yeah.
it feels quite different to the logo type next to it, I think the logo type, I think they're both very, very strong.
Yeah, they feel
but
individual.
they feel individual.
separate
yeah,
things.
Just because of the colors.
Yeah. Mark Schwind.
This is cool. Magic.
My Jack.
Magic.
I got my Jacks.
It's like saying magic in a Glaswegian accent.
Exactly.
Magic.
My Jack.
So,
Whoop, whoop. Going back. Whoop.
okay, yeah, I think this is really cool. I like the contrast of the bright yellow and the black on top. And I like how the J comes down and we have this contrast of the very thick rectangle against this curved J. It creates a really interesting negative space in between the two shapes. And I think that this feels really well balanced. I think there's an element of, it's just been done very well in terms of actually balancing out the font.
Yeah. Nice job, Mark. Sal
This is
Lippman.
Cool. It's our famous
friend Sal.
entry.
Yeah.
But this feels more like a poster to me. But it's super interesting. It's really cool. I love how everyone's been playing with the colors coming in and out to create these almost shadow effects and these transparencies over the type. I think that works really well.
Oh.
Ooh, super minimal.
Albert Uda. Okay, so we have just a little bit of time left. I think that we
my
might want to
How many do we
have
have
one
left?
more. Oh, let's see. How many do we have left? Four more left.
Okay, should we
All
try
right.
and go really quick?
Yeah, I think we can do this.
Well, we missed. Where were the last
Here
four?
we go. This is
Oh,
the
okay,
one of the
okay.
last four.
So this is very minimal. Again, I like
don't
the
know
colors.
what it is, though.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like.
But I like
the
it.
colours, and it's
I'm like,
minimal.
I like it,
It
but I
looks
don't
like
know
an
what
app.
it is.
Yeah, a B and an I.
Oh,
maybe.
hidden treasures.
2018.
Well, unfortunately, Simon, this isn't using the typefaces, so But you can use them, download them tomorrow or later today, and you can enter again.
Cool. You should do it.
Akash Mitra.
Oh, and this is
another
Little
Wayne
Wayne.
Industries. This is Little Wayne
Again,
Industries, totally.
he's back.
Yeah, he's back.
Cool.
Similar.
Okay.
And the last one,
and the last one.
Tiger Wave.
So this is interesting because it's combining the two fonts.
Yeah, and it's got color masked out inside of it. There's quite a bit going on,
This
actually.
is interesting. I
Yeah.
think my only thing would be with the logotype, the application. If we're being super serious about it, you know?
Oh, yeah.
The application of it would maybe be a little bit difficult with it having all those colors.
I agree.
That's what I'd say. Okay, so
All right, so now you
have.
have to make a decision, and you don't even have to debate with anyone. It's all yours today. Eric's not here to rock, paper, scissors.
Oh no.
This is so tough.
Okay, wait, hold on. Go back to the top. Right.
Very top.
Okay, go.
Okay.
Okay. Let's
Real
keep
slow.
going. How
Kinda
long
slow.
do I have?
You've got about 2 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
I know. I know.
Oh.
I know. This is
don't
tough.
know.
Very tough. Tough choices. You guys did a great job.
You did a really good job.
Oh, there's Tom Cooper design. Oh, and Smith Anvil.
Yeah, see, those ones I feel are very solid and they're interesting because of the color palettes.
Oh, and then the whimsical Mies van der Rohe.
This is hard, but then
The
I think
project.
the Bauhaus is clever.
Yeah.
There's a few very clever ones, guys.
And
I
then it
honestly don't know
ends
if I
right
can
here.
decide.
Yep, that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay, so I think it's between.
Between.
Ooh,
I'll go back up.
this is really
Between.
tricky.
I know, it's so hard to pick.
Smith is really good. I think Tom design is really good. I love Eros, but I feel like in terms of actually creating something, it's maybe a bit too simple. It's just like
just type,
adding.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just the type. So I think in terms of that, I don't think so.
So, any other ones? There was these two then.
Wait, go back. Just scroll just one more
Just
time.
one more time.
I'm
This
taking
is
it really seriously.
This is very serious, you guys. It's a big competition. Okay, coming back down.
I feel like the concept of the Bauhaus one is really
this one?
good. Yeah, but I don't
This
know
one.
if the execution is as professional feeling as the other ones. And I actually think this guy who entered again today.
Yes.
This, no.
Oh,
further
nope, yep.
down. This one.
This one, yes.
I feel like that's like come on, like leaps and bounds. But then I don't know, is
Yeah.
it allowed if he's done it in 2 days?
Oh yeah, you can enter as long as it's new. Yep. All right, the choice has to come.
Okay, I'm going to go with. Oh, I feel really bad.
No, you feel good. You're awarding someone.
I'm going to go with. Oh, I just can't. Yeah.
It's pretty great.
It's right. But then,
They're all so great.
I'm going to go with Smith.
Oh, Smith. Smith Anvil it is.
I'm really
Smith
sorry.
Anvil. Oh, you can't be sorry. Everyone's a winner.
But do you
Everyone's
know
a
why?
winner.
I'm going to say why so that people.
Woo!
Oh yeah,
McKinley
Woo!
Smith, congratulations.
You got
Little
it.
high five for McKinley.
Woo!
Nice.
The reason why is for me the execution of this is to like a very high standard. There's loads of stuff going on in terms of the colors and the shapes and integrating into one another. And I like that she's also managed to create an icon that sits at the bottom of the logotype. And to me, this is not only just a logotype, but she's also managed to create an icon that sits with the logotype. So I think in
Completely.
terms of creating something that feels super big and like a proper logotype that could actually be used across all assets, this one works. So well done.
Congratulations, McKinley, and to all of you who entered, because that was a lot of work in a little bit of time.
Yes.
I feel like you guys are ready for the boiler room. What do you think?
Oh gosh. I bet you a lot of people would probably want to work
yeah,
there.
It's pretty great. Well, I really enjoyed this session. Thank you so much, Caterina. This was amazing. Please join us again tomorrow. She'll be back designing more posters, probably even more than ever. And again, we have Jerome and Michael coming up, so stay tuned. It's going to be a great show.
Cool.
Thanks,
Bye,
everyone.
guys.
Bye.